Nebraska. Hello, Lincoln, Nebraska. That's what we like to hear. Great to be here. My name is Diana Nagy. I'm one of your entertainers rocking and rolling across the country on the Tea Party Express on your behalf. It's great to be back in Nebraska. I feel like this is home. My mom was born here, so I feel like I have roots here, so I'm one of you. And we're all standing together. We are all together right now because we're here from the fight for America. Are you with me? Because I know you are, because that's why we're here. So please join me. Stand and join in the Pledge of Allegiance and the national anthem. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave? Thank you.
Diana Nagy, isn't she terrific? I'm Howard Kalugi, and I'm chairman of the Tea Party Express's political action committee called Our Country Deserves Better PAC. And I'm here as a volunteer chairman of the PAC. I actually have a real job. My job is with Hillsdale College. Has anybody heard of America's School, Hillsdale College? If you haven't taken the Constitution course yet at Hillsdale, it's free. Go online to hillsdale.edu and take the course on the Constitution. I think you'll just love it. At the college, we ask a lot of questions. And there have been a number of questions on this tour. But I'd like to give a few questions to the members of the media that are here that see if they would incorporate these questions into what they ask people. And so I want to ask all of you, do you think our economy is on the right track? What was that? Is America headed in the right direction? Can you stand 4 more years of this? Would you be better off if Obama was reelected? No. Well, not unless you're planning on getting on or staying on food stamps, I suppose. But let's review the record of these last 4 years. We have unprecedented deficit. We have the largest debt in human history. We have lower housing values and higher gas prices. We have millions of jobs lost and socialized medicine. We've got a downgraded credit rating and anemic economic growth, worse than actually Mexico or Canada. And we have the worst foreign policy since Jimmy Carter's first term. Did I leave anything out? Well, there are more Americans on food stamps than ever before. What about Obama's vision for the future? It's nothing but class warfare. Don't buy the lie that giving government more power to steal from those who earn it in order to give it to those who don't somehow helps the country or the poor. It doesn't. All it does is empower government to be bigger and more powerful and grow the bureaucracy and increase the debt so that our grandchildren will continue to have to pay that off. Now, in 2010, we voted out the big spenders from the House. In 2012, we have to vote the big spenders out from the United States Senate, starting right here in Nebraska, by electing John Bruning as your next United States Senator. You know, the economic plan that Obama has, if he gets his way, will increase revenues to the government by about $145 billion a year, but it'll increase spending by $500 billion a year. No change, no hope, nothing but more debt, more deficit, more problems, more burdens for our children and grandchildren into the future, and it has to stop. The Senate is the place to stop it. The Senate hasn't passed a budget in 3 years. That's because Harry Reid and the people that are in the Senate today don't want you to know how large that budget is. When we put John Bruning in the Senate, he will stand up for the Constitution. He will stand up for you and me. He will cause the government to live within its means and cause that deficit to come down because he understands the constitutional limits the federal government should live in. And so critical is right here in Nebraska. That's why we're so pleased to be here today supporting John Bruning, who we've endorsed for the United States Senate, and supporting the conservative viewpoint of staying within the constitutional means. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're happy to be here. And now I'd like to introduce our next guest who's appearing. She's Amy Kramer. You've probably heard of her. You've seen her on Fox News and CNN and Broadcast News and even on The View. She's been on MSNBC, but I know none of you actually saw that. Please welcome the chairwoman of the Tea Party Express, Amy Kramer.
Hello, Nebraska. Thank you, Howard. We're blessed that Howard has taken his vacation time to go across the country with us for this very important cause. You know, we've been here in Nebraska before, and I'm excited to be back here. Tea Party Express, this is our 6th bus tour, and we're focused on the United States Senate. This is our Restoring the American Dream bus tour. You know, there's no one in Washington, D.C. that has caused more gridlock than Harry Reid, because time after time, legislation comes out of the House and goes to the Senate, and Harry Reid thinks he knows what's best for all of us, so he doesn't bring it to the floor for an up or down vote or even a debate. He just tables it. That's not acceptable. And in addition, as Howard mentioned, it was Sunday that marked the 3-year anniversary since the Senate has passed a budget under Harry Reid's leadership. That's not acceptable. The United States Senate is not doing the work of the American people. And all anybody wants to talk about is it's the Republicans' fault, and it's the Tea Party Republicans' fault, and that we're driving this country over a cliff. What nobody's talking about is that under President Obama's administration, the first 2 years, he had a Democratic-controlled House and a Senate. He could have passed anything he wanted to. But all they were focused on doing is shoving Obamacare down our throats. Well, you guys, it's only going to change if we engage. And if we truly want to affect change, we have to change the players. And that's exactly what Tea Party Express is focused on doing. We're going to take that gavel out of Harry Reid's hands and send fiscal conservatives to Washington, fiscal conservatives to the United States Senate who are committed to doing the work of the American people. We want people in the Senate and in the House who are willing to rein in this out-of-control spending, who are willing to balance the budget, who are willing to repeal Obamacare fully and completely, rip it out by the roots. Nothing else, nothing less is acceptable. And if it's not us, then who? And if not now, then when? You know, back during this last summer, during the debt ceiling debate, they kept telling us that they had to increase the debt ceiling or else our credit rating would be downgraded. Well, guess what happened? They increased the debt ceiling and it was still downgraded. We are headed towards this cliff. And President Obama's new campaign slogan, have you heard? It's forward. That's his new campaign slogan. Well, you know what? It doesn't matter if you're moving forward, if you're moving in the wrong direction, or if you're headed over a cliff. We need to get conservatives to Washington that are willing to put the power back in the hands of the people and back in the states where it belongs. Washington is not the answer. Washington's the problem. And Washington needs to get out of our lives. And you know, last cycle in 2010, we had Bart Stupak up in Michigan who sold us out over Obamacare. And when he did that, Tea Party Express, we were announced that we were going to go in and target him for force him to retire or to defeat him. Within 72 hours of us doing that, he announced his retirement. Ben Nelson, Mr. Cornhusker Kickback, he's since decided he's retiring because he knows he doesn't stand a chance. And Tea Party Express is proud to stand with Attorney General John Bruning and support his candidacy because we believe he's going to be the next United States Senator from Nebraska. And this is one seat where we can win. There are others, but this is really important, and we have a lot of work to do. In the next 2 weeks, we have a lot of work to do. He needs your help. He cannot do it without you. We've had great victories across this country. The media wants to write the narrative that the Tea Party movement's dead. We need to show them that it's not. In the past 2 weeks, the Tea Party rose up in Utah. It rose up in Pennsylvania. It's going to rise up again next week in Indiana when Senator Dick Lugar's defeated, a senator that's been in the United States Senate for 36 years but hasn't lived there, doesn't own a home there since 1977. So we need to let the media know we're still here. We're just not out in the street having these big protests like we were in 2010. And I tell them all the time, don't judge us by the number of people that show up at our rallies. Judge us by what happens on Election Day. We're going to prove them wrong. And we're going to prove that conservatives are in control, not the Republican Party. That's what this is about. Because we've all learned just because you're a Republican does not mean you're a conservative. So we're happy to be here in Nebraska and be supporting Attorney General John Bruning. We've got a lot of work to do. He needs your help. If you can only donate a little bit, donate $5, whatever you can afford, and volunteer your time because he can't do it without us. And it's going to take all of us. Thank you so much for coming out and joining us here today. I really am excited to be back here in Nebraska, and we're going on to Omaha this afternoon. So if you want to come join us there, we'd love to have you, or call people and tell them to turn out. But you guys keep up the good work because we are winning, and we will win in November. God bless you all.
Some volunteers are going to be walking around with cards like this. Please fill them out, so we'd love to know who was here today, and there'll be a raffle at the end. Next, you're going to hear from Lloyd Marcus. He is a singer and songwriter of the American Tea Party Anthem. He's a prolific blogger and published author, including the book Confessions of a Black Conservative. He's chairman of the campaign to defeat Barack Obama. Ladies and gentlemen, Lloyd Marcus.
Hello, my fellow patriots. I am not an African American. I am Lloyd Marcus, American. And I am totally appalled the way the Obama administration is using this Trayvon Martin, George Zimmerman case to spew racial hatred. It is despicable. For Barack Obama to say, if I had a son, he would look like Trayvon. That was totally designed to make Black America angry. That's evil, folks. And we need to get this administration out of there and replace them with good folks like John Bruning. My main man, John. That's the kind of people that we need in Washington, right? John, you the man. Start spreading the news. I'm telling y'all today, we're taking back America in 2012. This so socialist nightmare is gonna come to an end, 'cause we're gonna vote them out in 2012. I wanna wake up in my America where I can speak as I please, without acorn thugs breaking my knees. My Harry Reid blues will soon melt away. Now, folks, now we've taken the House, now the Senate in 2012. And when we stop them there, their agenda won't have a prayer. But it's up to you and you and you, ma'am, and you, sir, in November 2012. Have y'all had enough of the Obama regime? Lord knows, so have I. Come on, 2012. I just wanna wake up in my America where I can still speak my mind, to find my freedom restored. Harry, read it out. No Obamacare. Yes, King Obama, he's gone. My Obama blues are melting away. Patriots, we're gonna take back our country. November 2012. Just doesn't have a prayer. But it's up to you and 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 you. 2012. God bless you, folks. We love you. Here's Howard.
Lloyd Marcus, isn't he terrific? Yes, he is. You know, all of our performers are professionals who donate their time and travel with the Tea Party Express and perform for you today. You can thank them by stopping by the booths over here at the tables and buying one of their books or CDs. That's the only way that they are supported here on this tour. Now, next, I'd like to bring up a young man that you're just going to love. Because of the Tea Party, this next young man has learned the great history of our country. Today, he's working hard as a youth minister to make a difference in our country, teaching youth about our country. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Politic.
Don't spread my wealth, spread my work ethic. That's a beautiful message. You know, it's because of people like you. It's an honor to be here today fighting for the soul of this nation. That's what we're doing with this Tea Party movement, with the conservative movement, the 912 groups, people all around this country standing up and standing out. It's because of that that I know the history of this country now. I didn't have a clue about this country until this conservative movement. Where I come from, it's apathy over involvement. And one vision that God has given me is that we have to take this conservative message of liberty and freedom to the next generation. We have to not allow the liberals like Reverend Jesse Jackson and Al Sharpton and all these individuals that manipulate information and lie to people, and they race bait and cause all this animosity. We have to take this message in new ways. And that's what Politics Entertainment is working on doing. But we have to take the information and deliver it in a different way. For example, you may not be used to hip-hop music. I Some of y'all are like, am I in the right place? I thank God for the burden that He put on my heart for leadership. We have to break these cultural boundaries and reach the next generation and stop allowing these morally corrupt individuals and groups to destroy the future of America. Yeah. Growing up, I never learned who was running my city. Without vision, went to prison, but I'm not asking for pity. I didn't know I had the power. I could fire officials. We can break this dependency that keeps our city crippled. Black and Hispanic babies killed by the millions. Planned Parenthood exists to raise the debt ceiling. Communities enslaved in economic chains. They don't teach us liberty because it ruins their games. We're here for the people, make way for the truth. You ain't smarter than us just cause you dressed in a suit. Where your actions, what you doing, show me your work. I can show you every day where the people are hurt. For the people I serve, in the name of my God, county officials better move if they're not doing their job. This conservative tsunami is sweeping the nation. We the people, get loud, let them hear your frustration.
I'm not scared to be different cause I'm a leader. Never shy away from Christ, let them know I'm a believer. Stand against deceivers cause I'm a leader. If you're not solving problems, then we don't need you. I'm not scared to be different cause I'm a leader. Never shy away from Christ, let them know I'm a believer. Stand against deceivers cause I'm a leader. If you're not solving problems, then we don't need you.
Mr. City Council member, my district hurts, and it's clear that the last 30 years did not work. I'm not trying to be a jerk, I just can't see how things haven't changed since you held that seat. They're selling dope on my block. Your leadership is missing. It's time we reevaluate your job description. You're there to represent what's best for the people. Business is dead, your apathy is lethal. We watch poverty spread, you nod your head at a pointless agenda that we're all force-fed. Millions on projects, but not the projects. These issues in the city, man, you need to address. I will not digress, the next verse gon' kill you. You say it's complicated, I just can't feel you. I meet needs in my city, I've never been elected. Not my words, but my deeds are the reason I'm respected.
I'm not scared to be different cause I'm a leader. Never shy away from Christ, let them know I'm a believer. Stand against deceivers cause I'm a leader. If you're not solving problems, then we don't need you. I'm not scared to be different cause I'm a leader. Never shy away from Christ, let them know I'm a believer. Stand against deceivers cause I'm a
Jesse
leader.
Jackson.
If you're not solving problems, then
We don't need you. Let's pretend one day that I was running for office, the Senate, City Council, or U.S. Congress. I'd look around my district and see what works. Instead of getting on the TV with a bunch of pretty words, I'm thinking like a leader. I'm pounding out my plan within the lines of my district. I have to understand what schools do we have and where do they struggle. List our nonprofits and help them build their muscle. What companies would hire if we helped them to grow. Campaigns that I see are more like scripted shows. I take scripted blows at this destructive system. Find your local problems and then you fix them. Stop thinking like officials, think like a leader, and give it all you have or we won't believe you. Lead in your district and put it all in print, then go to DC and point to what you represent. I'm not scared to be different, I'm a leader. Never shy away from Christ, let them know I'm a believer. Stand against deceivers cause I'm a leader. If you're not solving problems, then we don't need you. I'm not scared to be different, I'm a leader. Never shy away from Christ, let them know I'm a believer. Stand against deceivers cause I'm a leader. If you're not solving problems, then we don't need you. Politics Entertainment is developing a cultural campaign to take this message of liberty and freedom in places that it is not being taken right now. Liberty, freedom, U.S. sovereignty is not boring. This isn't boring information. We just have to communicate it in a way that young people, college campuses, hot spots, that young people congregate and come together. It's in every city. We want New York, Los Angeles, the stages that are hard to stand on, because we believe that this message needs to go further and farther. The Tea Party is growing, not slowing. God bless this nation, and God bless all of you who stand up and stand out when it's easier to stay at home and sit down. Please come to the booth. Learn about Politics Entertainment, politic.com. God bless you all.
Isn't he terrific? He's a leader and a believer. And the youth respond to him. Isn't it great? Time to reach the youth. Well, you know, the Tea Party Express is a political action committee that has endorsed and won every endorsement pre-primary. Every time we've made an endorsement, from 2010 till now, we've won. And in this state of Nebraska, we're going to win as well. For this reason, our endorsed candidates mean something. They stand for something. They understand the Constitution, and they have a vision for America, and they're going to make the difference in Washington, D.C. That's why the Tea Party Express has endorsed your sitting Attorney General for the United States Senate open seat here in Nebraska. Ladies and gentlemen, John Bruning.
Well, I just want to say thank you to the Tea Party Express for their endorsement. I am so proud to be endorsed by the Tea Party Express. You know what the Tea Party's done for this country? Instead of talking about whether or not we're going to cut the size and scope of the federal government, now the debate is how much we're going to cut the size and scope of the federal government. I'm running for the United States Senate because we have to reduce the federal government. We have a $15.6 trillion national debt right now. We have a president of the United States in 4 years as president. He's proposed 4 budgets, each with more than $1 trillion deficit. 1 year at a time, he's digging us $1 trillion hole deeper and deeper. And you think about where that leaves us as a country, the greatest country in the world today, the greatest country in the history of civilization. And we've racked up so much debt, half of which is held by foreign countries, that we put ourselves at risk. This is not a revenue problem. The government has enough revenue to do what it needs to do. This is a spending problem. We have to cut spending. And what's the answer these guys think? What does the Obama administration think the answer is? They give us Obamacare and more spending. And you think about Obamacare for a minute. They first told us it was going to cost $900 billion. Said it's only going to cost $900 billion. The nonpartisan Congressional Budget Office now says it's going to cost $1.7 trillion. So that's not the only problem with it. It's not just that it costs that much, it's unconstitutional. A month ago, I went to Washington, D.C. on your behalf and on behalf of all Americans, and I was in the Supreme Court for all 3 days of those arguments. 4 different arguments, 6 hours over those 3 days. And here's what I saw. I saw a Supreme Court that I think just might get it. They might get it that the Founding Fathers, when they wrote that Constitution, they intended for the federal government to have specific enumerated powers. Everything else would go to the states. That's what the founders intended. They didn't intend for the Commerce Clause to be unlimited, so the federal government could force you to buy insurance, or as the Chief Justice asked, can they force you to buy a cell phone? Or I think it was Justice Scalia said, can they force me to join a gym? Think about the things the federal government can force you to do. Instead of having a donut in the morning, they're going to force me to eat a sprig of broccoli. I don't think so. That's not the America we believe in. We need to push back. This federal government needs to be pushed back against. I've done it as your Attorney General. I've sued the EPA again and again and again. We have to tell the federal government that enough is enough. I look around, I think of some of the people that have given to this great country. You're going to hear from Debbie Lee. Her son was the first SEAL killed in Iraq, 2006. I see Bill Diekman, my good friend, United States Marine. Trent Fellers, my campaign manager, United States Marine. I know many of you fought for this country, risked your life for this country. Your families did. We can't afford to see it go in the tank. We're on the edge right now. We need to make a decision about which way we're going to go. You see Greece, you see Brazil, you see countries that their finances are in terrible shape. Some people in this country, my grandmother's 97, she lives in Bruning. She lived through the Great Depression. She knows what it's like to make your clothes out of flour sacks. We can't afford to go down that path. We have to make some hard decisions and cut spending. This Obama administration doesn't get it. Bob Kerrey doesn't get it. Bob Kerrey says Obamacare doesn't go far enough. He wants more Obamacare. I want to repeal Obamacare. Bob Kerrey, when he was in the United States Senate, he voted against a balanced budget amendment to the United States Constitution. You send me to the United States Senate, I'm going to vote for a balanced budget amendment to the United States Constitution. God bless Tea Party Express for changing the debate in this country. Now we're talking about how we're going to get our government back, how we're going to get the government out of our lives. You small business owners, you know what it's like to have a regulatory regime at the federal level that's in every aspect of your business. You've heard about the poor guy tried to open a hot dog stand in Los Angeles and had 30-some different governmental authorities to deal with. That's what we've come to in America. We can do better. This is the greatest country in the world today, greatest country in the history of civilization. And it's not because of a government, it's because of the people. Because the people know if you work hard enough, you can achieve your dreams. Anything is possible in America. That's what makes us different. We can get back there. We can take our government back. We can balance our budget. We can make sure this country is great for another 200 and some years. We can do it together. I'm honored to have your support. I need your vote on May 15th. I need your family's vote on May 15th. And when we win on May 15th, don't take your eye off the prize. We got to beat Bob Kerrey. We got to win the Senate. We got to take this government back. Thank you very much.
John Bruning is going to make a terrific United States Senator. He understands the Constitution. He understands the 10th Amendment. And if you don't yet understand the Constitution as well as you should, you need to hear from our next author and speaker. Michelle Malkin calls him her brilliant friend. Ed Meese says that he's done us all a favor by writing a book called The Constitution Made Easy, putting the Constitution in everyday plain English. We at the Tea Party Express call him Mr. Constitution. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Mr. Mike Holler.
Well, I was going to say everything John Bruning said, except that I'm not running for Senate. Maybe I'll think about it. Hey, John, you listening? Okay, no, listen, we need people who are going to go to Washington and stand for the United States Constitution. The Constitution matters. Elections have consequences. We elected a president 4 years ago who has made some Supreme Court appointments that are marginal. And now our future and the future of our children may be placed in their hands. Elections have consequences for the United States Senate. Does anybody know how a Supreme Court justice is placed on the bench? Well, they are appointed by the president with something else. Does anybody know what that is? Come on, it's in your Constitution. With the advice and consent of the Senate. We need senators who will go to the United States Senate and say, sorry, we don't consent. Folks, the future of the world, the future of the free world depends upon a free America. How many of you agree with that? We can say goodbye to Greece, we can say goodbye to Spain, but if we say goodbye to the United States of America, we've just closed the door and turned out the lights for freedom in the world. Freedom in the United States depends upon us honoring, protecting, defending, observing the United States Constitution. How many of you agree with that? There are at least 535 elected officials in Congress who, and a president and a vice president and a bunch of cabinet officials and a Supreme Court. They all take an oath to support and defend the Constitution of the United States. How are they doing so far? Not good. They don't know what it, let me tell you three things. They don't know what it says. If they knew what it said, they wouldn't understand it. If they understood it, they still would not obey it, even after they took the oath to support it. I'm going to give you part of that oath, and I'll need your help on it, all right? They say that they solemnly swear that they will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic. Some of them are domestic enemies of the Constitution. So if the Constitution is going to be defended, it can be defended by some good people in Congress, the few, the proud, but it's mostly going to have to be defended by somebody else. You know who that is? Us, we, the people of the United States, are going to now have to defend the Constitution against the people who took the oath to defend the Constitution. That's a bit ironic, but it has come down to the last line of defense, and that is you, and that is me, and it is something that we absolutely must do. We must defend the Constitution of the United States. How are we going to do that? Well, the first thing we have to do is read it and understand it. I've got 2 more questions for you, and the first one's easy, and everybody knows the answer. How many of you have a Constitution? See your hands? All right, I've got another question. It's harder. I don't generally see very many hands. How many of you understand the Constitution as well as you think you should? Not many takers. Folks, we've got to get the Constitution out of our pockets and into our heads so it will come out of our mouths on command, so we can talk to our neighbors intelligently about limited government. I wrote my notes on my t-shirt in case I forgot what I was going to say, and only the front row can probably read it. But it says, man is not free unless government is limited. Thomas Jefferson said that. I want you to say it with me so you can say it to your neighbor. Are you ready? Man is not free unless government is limited. Start the conversation there with your neighbor. Where are the limits on our government found? In the United States Constitution. So I've got something that I need you to do that I believe is your civic duty. I charge you with this civic duty. It is more fundamental than voting. Now, I'm not saying it's more important, but it's more fundamental than voting. It's more effective than arguing. It is understanding the Constitution and simply communicating its message to one of your neighbors. If you will do that, you will be able, we may be able to save this country for our children, for our grandchildren, so that they have the same opportunities that we have, so they're not saddled with a big debt and more dangerously saddled with a big government that tells them what to do. Will you join me in that cause? Will you join me in that cause? Thank you. God bless each one of you who came out here today, and God bless America.
Good job, Mike. Ma'am, are you on the program? Or you want to be on the program? The Constitution is not a list of suggestions. We agree, absolutely. You should be on the program. I thought you were. That's what he said. The Constitution is the law that governs the government. No doubt about it. We've had a lot of very important people ride these buses behind me, Sarah Palin and all kinds of governors and senators. But do you know who the most important person on these buses are? The bus driver. Ladies and gentlemen, let me bring to the stage our VIP, Ray, the bus driver.
Thank you, Howard. You know, 3.5 years ago, we were sold a bill of goods, said hope and change. Well, we did some changing in 2010 in the House. If you look around and ask elderly, young people if they have any hope, what are you hearing? Doesn't look so good, does it? But we can't give up because we still have hope. And that's why we're here today, is to encourage you to tell some folks there's 3 things you can do. You can tell people that there is still hope by making some change. And you have to tell your kids and your grandkids. They should be here today, you know. But it's your responsibility to tell them where we are and where we're headed if we don't do the right thing. The other thing we have to do is to pray to Almighty God that He will open ears and open eyes to see what's happening. And the third thing we have to do to make all this happen is to give. You see these 2 buses out here? On the map on the side, we have a long way to go. And we're not out here doing this just because we don't have anything else to do. We're not retired. But we're doing it because we hope for change in America in 2012. And it costed a lot of money to keep these buses on the road. $4.09 a gallon the last fill up, 232 gallons, you do the math. So what we're going to do is ask you to put your voice into action today. Help us send these buses, keep them on the road. We're going to come around and ask you to give whatever you can give. We appreciate everything, and we appreciate you so much for being here today. God bless you.
Thank you, Ray. You've heard her already. She's our little dynamo from the San Francisco Bay Area. She's a singer, songwriter, and she is a person who's got an amazing story to tell. To bring us back on track, ladies and gentlemen, welcome again, Diana Nagy.
Thank you, Howard. I love America. I'm proud of America, and I know all of you are too, and that's why we're here. I will dedicate and will spend the rest of my life to fight for America and all she stands for the sacrifices of our founding fathers, our troops, to fight to keep God, morals, and values in this country. Are you with me, Lincoln, Nebraska? Are you with me? Because we are making a difference. So let's get this country back on track. All right, can you put them together? If you want to stand, you can do a little dance. America, come on, get up. Get back on track. Big government out. Get our country back. They've spent our last dime, nothing left to borrow. Hand them all pink slips tomorrow. Come on, people, get us back on track. Come on, people, take our country back. We the people, we've got to be heard. United we stand, we're spreading the word. That's up to you to spread the word. You can do it, I can do it, you'll make a difference, we all do. Our hearts are on fire for the love of this land. A sleeping giant's been awakened again. Now's the time to answer the call. Return America to what our forefathers saw. Come on, people, get us back on track. Come on, people, take our country back. We the people, we've got to be heard. United we stand, we're spreading the word. Okay, Lincoln, now's the time. Oh, let's take our country back. One nation, say it with me. Under God. Are you ready? Let's go. Woo! Are we going to take it back to 2012? Are you ready? We have a lot of work to do. Are you ready? I didn't hear you. Are you ready? DC needs to hear you, and they will. You can make a difference, and you will. Color don't matter at all. We are proud to be Americans, one nation under God. Step up to the plate, don't need no socialist state. It's 2012, we're turning up the heat. It's 2012, we won't repeat. Yeah. Come on, people, get us back on track. Come on, people, take our country back. We the people, we've got to be heard. United we stand, to spread the word. We the people, we've got to be heard. United we stand, to spread the word. Ba-ba-da-dee-dee-da. Yeah! Thank you.
Diana came on the radio program last night and sang a little bit. You know, the radio program is every Monday night at 10 p.m. here, local time. I broadcast out of San Diego, where I live, on a radio station there. It's called the Tea Party Express Hour. That sign there gives you the website, teapartyexpress.org. You click on the microphone, and you can listen to it throughout the nation. And people do, and they call in and they tell us about what's happening in their tea parties all across the country, because we give voice to the local tea parties at the Tea Party Express Hour, teapartyexpress.org. Our next speaker is Debbie Lee. She was the person who John Bruning mentioned when he was up here. She's an author, and she's president of America's Mighty Warriors. Her son, Mark Allen Lee, was the very first Navy SEAL killed in Iraq. Her life is dedicated to reminding us all that freedom is not free. Debbie Lee.
Thank you so much. It is exciting to be back in Omaha again. And as I've traveled across the nation, it's been almost 6 years since my son gave his life. I've dedicated my life to the troops, to their families, and especially to the families of the fallen. You see, I do understand that freedom is not free. One of the things that I'm privileged to do with the Tea Party Express is to make sure that we let you know as vets how much we appreciate your sacrifice and your service to this country. So if you're one of those who's served in the military, would you please stand up and stay standing so we can give you a huge round of applause for your service and your sacrifice. Thank you. Thank you. Folks, look at this. About half of the crowd are men and women who have fought. Many of them have bled. And some, like my son, have died for the freedoms that we have in America. And gentlemen and ladies, every morning I wake up and I thank you for the freedoms that I have, because I do understand you have paid for those freedoms. August 2nd, 2006 is a day that will forever change my life. I was notified that my son, Mark Allen Lee, had been killed in action. And you can imagine as a parent, that's the toughest news that you could ever hear. I learned shortly after that the story of his heroic actions that day. It was 115, 120 degrees in Ramadi, Iraq. Many of you may remember back in 2006 what a terrible place Ramadi was. Mark's teammates said it was the hellhole of Iraq, or the worst piece of real estate over there. I've been to Ramadi. I've seen the area. I can agree with them. That day there were 4 SEALs on the rooftop. Mark's buddy Ryan had been severely injured, and they could tell by looking at him it didn't look good. They didn't know if he'd survive the next few moments. 2 of the SEALs dropped to their knees to help Ryan. Mark could have made that very same choice, but he made the choice to stand up into the direct line of fire, hoping the enemy would see him and would fire on him, and they could sneak the medic up to the rooftop. The medic got up there successfully, and he took one look at Ryan. He said, "We got to get him out of here immediately, or there's no chance for survival." So not once, but a second time, Mark made the choice to stand up into the direct line of fire, hoping to provide the cover so they could get down off of that roof. They all successfully got down off of that roof. They sent Ryan off for medical attention, and they climbed in their Bradleys, and they headed back to the base that was named Camp Mark Lee in his memory. They got in that base and started to rip their gear off and get some water to refresh themselves. And I've tried to imagine what was going on in their minds as they went back to that base. Today, we're remembering a year ago what our SEALs did for us, how they captured Osama bin Laden. They seemed superhuman at times. But Mark's final gift to me was his teammates. And I know them well, and I can tell you they were just as worn out as you or I would be. They were exhausted physically, emotionally. And as they wondered what happened to Ryan and didn't think he was going to make it, and they sat there and tried to process that, the chief came in and he said, "We just found 30 of the insurgents that just attacked us. You guys up to going back out?" I've been over there. I know there's a Marine base on the other side. If they'd asked me, I'd said, "Go find some of the Marines who are fresh and who are ready for battle." But that wasn't my son, nor is that the character of the Navy SEALs. And he looked at his chief and he said, "Roger that, let's go get him." So they climbed in the Bradleys and they headed back into that godforsaken place. They cleared several houses and went in the last house Mark would be in. Cleared the bottom of the house and started to go up the steps, and they heard Mark yell, "On me!" And if you've served, you know what that meant. He was going to take the lead, and they were to follow. And as he went up those steps, they drew fire through a window. For the final time, this young man made the choice to turn into the line of fire to defend his buddies. He willingly gave his life defending them. But it wasn't just them. It was every one of you that are here today. It was everyone who lives in America. It was for the freedoms that we enjoy each and every day. He willingly did that for us. He took off his boots. He laid down his weapons and laid down his baton, and I picked them up. I didn't have any choice, that news that was delivered to me, but I did have a choice how I responded. So in his memory, I carry on. And we owe it to our men and women who've served. We owe it to all of those who raised their hand here today. What's happening on the Hill is not what they fought for. It's not what my son gave his life for. I have 2 amazing letters. One's very amazing and touches me very personally. It was from President Bush. It was given to me, it was written to me the night that he received a letter from me, handwritten letter full of much compassion. I wrote a letter to Obama when he first took office. 7 months later, I received a form letter that didn't mention Mark, didn't mention the things I dressed, and it was stamped on the bottom. That man didn't even have the guts to sign that letter. And so when I heard him a year ago when he got on and thanked our country and took all the credit for what our SEALs had done, he said, I personally carry the burden for each one of those Gold Star families, and I sign my name on every letter. And you can imagine the disgust when I heard that line, knowing that man stood there, bold-faced lied. I had one of the other Gold Star families from the helicopter that went down on August 6th at my Heroes Hope home. They looked at that letter and they confirmed it was the same letter they received. We had a commander-in-chief who loved our troops, and now the man in the office is not a commander-in-chief. That may go with his title. But he has decreased their budget. He doesn't give them rules of engagement that let them be successful. He's increased their medical premiums, and then he has the audacity to stand before our troops and say, I got your back. Yeah, he's got a knife ready to go in their back. And ladies and gentlemen, on my watch, I won't stand by and watch this any longer. It is time for us to take our country back. And I want to know from you, are you with me? Will you be like my son and say, Roger that. Let's go get our country. Let's take it back. Thank you guys for being here. We've got to get out there and make a difference. We've got to vote. If we don't vote, that man's going to be back in office. And we're going to have to deal with this another 4 years and watch our country be destroyed. We need to tell people we know. And I would ask you, to everyone you run into that's not going to vote, would you please tell them my son's story? Would you please tell them that we owe it to our fallen heroes to vote? The SEALs have a saying that says failure is not an option, and it's not an option for us to have that man up there again. Thank you guys for being here today. God bless each one of you troops, and God bless America.
This is our favorite part of the program, to be able to honor our troops, all who have sacrificed to keep our flag flying at unreachable heights. This song is a song that I wrote. My mom wrote it as well. We dedicated it to my uncle, Michael Nagy, to Mark Allen Lee, all who have sacrificed. My uncle was one of the last planes shot down in World War II. He had flown his last mission, was on his way home. He was a gunner in a torpedo bomber. They came across the USS Independence. They were short a torpedo bomber. He volunteered for one last mission, of which he never returned. The day the war was declared over, when there was laughter and dancing and music in the streets, the celebration, the war was over, they thought their son was coming home. They received the telegram. He wasn't coming home, he was MIA. A few years later, when my father served on a little R&R, that he kind of switched names and orders and went undercover and went to search for his brother. He went to Maya Zero Harbor, where his brother had gone down. He came across an elder in the village that remembered that day vividly. It was the only plane that had gone down. And there he took my father out in a little fishing boat to the exact spot where his brother had gone down, and he stood and prayed upon the grave of his brother at the bottom of the sea. This song goes out to Michael Nagy, shot down twice, of which he paid the ultimate price. Mark Allen Lee, all you who have sacrificed. It's because of you that we stand here today for our freedoms, and it's for you that we continue to fight for our freedoms. America, the song is for you. It's called Where Freedom Flies. And our brave ones held this flag, held it proud up to the sky, so the rest of us can live where freedom flies. In the memories that live in our hearts is the cost of freedom. Oh, there's a price for freedom. Oh, but for those who doubt get what it takes to protect this beautiful country, to fly this flag of freedom. Our brave once held this flag, held it proud up to the sky. So the rest of us can live where freedom lies. We know what it means to love one another, or to hold your hand out strong. The sacrifice to help our brothers. We know what it takes. We gather the strength. We find a way to be strong. The faith to carry on. In America, we remember, yes we do, the sacrifice we've known. But just to fly our flag so proudly in a land that's free. We know what it means to love one another, or to hold your hand out strong. The sacrifice to help our brothers. We know what it takes. We gather the strength. We find a way to be strong. The faith to carry on. Our brave once held this flag. They held it proud up to the sky. So the rest of us can live where freedom Thank you. And I had this distinct pleasure and privilege to, last year I was asked to sing for the commissioning of the new USS Independence, to pass the torch from one generation to the other. My father was there. It was life came around full circle. Heaven was smiling. Thank you very much. God bless you.
Diana Nagy, Diana, stay. Grab that mic. Folks, thank you for coming today to show that we are not about hate and we are all about love. We're going to sing God Bless America, and I would love for y'all to come to this stage so I can shake y'all hands. So all of us can shake y'all hands. Come. God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountain to the prairie, to the ocean, white with foam. How you doing, sir? God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet. Diana, we're the greatest nation on the planet.
Amen to that, brother.
America, land that the night with the light from above. From the mountain
to the
He don't wanna.
prairie, through the ocean,
I don't know that man.
wide with foam.
God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless you, folks. We're the Tea Party Express.